This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to today's Entertainment Roundup. We are diving into the biggest headlines from the world of music, reality TV, and major Hollywood announcements. Let's get started with the top stories of the day.
Katy Perry denies sexual assault allegations made by Ruby Rose.
Taylor Swift supports Travis Kelce during his New York shoot.
Molly-Mae Hague makes history on the Forbes Under 30 list.
Justin Bieber's Coachella set was more rehearsed than fans thought.
Sony reveals the first look at Jumanji, Open World.
New Spider-Verse footage shows Miles Morales facing his alternate self.
Jeremy Strong stars as Mark Zuckerberg in a new sequel.
Jacksepticeye is producing an animated Bloodborne movie for Sony.
Starting with Katy Perry. Katy Perry is forcefully pushing back against serious allegations made by actress Ruby Rose. Rose recently took to social media, specifically Threads, to claim that Perry sexually assaulted her at a Melbourne nightclub called Spice Market nearly 20 years ago. Rose, who is now 40, stated that it has taken her 2 decades to find the voice to speak publicly about the trauma she allegedly experienced when she was in her early 20s. The post was blunt and emotionally charged, thanking her followers for seeing her and acknowledging the long-term impact of such an event. However, Perry's legal and PR team quickly issued a statement to the Daily Mail, calling these claims categorically false and labeling them as dangerous, reckless lies. They are not taking this lightly, especially given the gravity of the accusation.
The response from Perry's camp didn't just stop at a denial. They also pointed toward what they describe as Rose's well-documented history of making public allegations on social media that have been repeatedly denied by those named. This isn't the first time these two have been at odds, though previous conflicts were much less severe. Back in 2017, Rose famously criticized Perry's music, calling one of her tracks purposeful poop before later backtracking and admitting that being mean didn't suit her. This new development comes at a difficult time for Perry, whose recent musical releases have struggled to reach the chart-topping heights of her earlier career. The industry is watching closely to see if this legal battle escalates further, or if more details emerge from that night in Melbourne 2 decades ago.
Next up, Taylor Swift was spotted in New York City this week, but she wasn't the one in front of the cameras. She was there to support her fiancé Travis Kelce as he filmed a high-profile campaign for Tommy Hilfiger in Central Park. While Travis was outside looking like an all-American heartthrob in a navy jacket and red plaid shirt, Taylor kept a very low profile inside the Plaza Hotel. Security was tight, with guards using umbrellas to shield her car as she moved through the hotel garage. This public appearance, even if she stayed mostly hidden, highlights how the couple is balancing their massive careers with their personal lives as they approach their wedding date. Travis seemed to be in great spirits, even taking a moment to shake hands with members of the NYPD during the shoot.
The wedding buzz is reaching a fever pitch, with reports confirming the duo will tie the knot in New York on July 3rd. It sounds like a massive production, with guests reportedly required to sign non-disclosure agreements just to RSVP to the save-the-date invites. The venue is still a secret, though insiders suggest it might be an arena or a museum-sized space to accommodate their high-profile guest list. Speaking of guests, Taylor's close friends Gigi Hadid and Selena Gomez are said to be planning some major surprises for the big day. Gigi was actually seen in New York on the same day as the Hilfiger shoot, leading many to believe she might be part of the campaign as well. It's clear that as the July wedding approaches, the couple is focusing on finishing their professional commitments before the lavish summer nuptials.
Now let's shift to Molly-Mae Hague has achieved a massive milestone, becoming the first ever Love Island star to be featured on the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list. This recognition comes as her business empire, MMH Group Holdings, reaches a staggering valuation of £20 million. Forbes placed her in the retail and e-commerce category, specifically noting the impact of her brands, Filter by Molly-Mae and her clothing label Maybe. It is a significant shift in how reality TV stars are perceived, moving from temporary influencers to serious entrepreneurs. Molly-Mae has built a massive following of over 16 million people across various platforms, and she has been working on her personal brand since she was just 17 years old. Her journey from a fashion student to a global business leader is currently being documented in an Amazon Prime series called behind it all.
Her success isn't just limited to her own brands. She recently collaborated with Adidas on a trainer line that sold out in mere minutes. This level of commercial power is rare, even for the most successful reality stars. While her professional life is soaring, her personal life has also been in the spotlight following her split from Tommy Fury in 2024. Despite the heartbreak in Tommy's public admissions regarding his struggles with alcohol, Molly-Mae has remained focused on her career and her role as a mother. She is currently expecting her second child, balancing the demands of a growing family with a business empire that shows no signs of slowing down. Her inclusion on the Forbes list solidifies her status as a legitimate force in the fashion and beauty industries, proving that her influence extends far beyond the villa.
Moving on to Justin Bieber's recent Coachella performance was a major talking point, but new behind-the-scenes footage shared by Hailey Bieber has revealed a surprising detail. One of the most discussed moments of his set involved Justin seemingly scrolling through YouTube on a giant screen to find his old hits. At the time, many fans thought this was a spontaneous, raw moment of a superstar reflecting on his roots. However, Hailey's Instagram posts show Justin actually rehearsing this exact sequence during soundcheck. The footage shows him practicing the timing of the scroll, while Hailey and their son Jack Blues dance along. This revelation has sparked a wave of reactions online, with some fans feeling a bit disillusioned that such a relatable moment was actually a carefully scripted part of a multi-million-dollar production. It shows just how much planning goes into a headlining set.
The internet's reaction has been a mix of amusement and critique. Some users on X joked about how he had to rehearse to make sure an ad didn't pop up mid-set, while others called it rehearsed relatability. Despite the staging being more calculated than it appeared, the sentiment behind it remains significant. Justin was discovered on YouTube back in 2008, and Coachella's livestream partner is also YouTube, so the synergy makes sense from a branding perspective. The set itself was quite stripped back, featuring Justin in a hoodie and focusing heavily on his newer, more experimental music, which had already left some fans divided. Seeing Hailey and their 19-month-old son supporting him during the rehearsals adds a sweet family touch to the narrative, even if the impromptu nature of the performance was a bit of a Hollywood illusion.
Next, we have Sony made a huge splash at CinemaCon by finally unveiling the title and first footage for the next Jumanji film. Titled Jumanji Open World, this third entry in the modern franchise, or fifth if you count the original, and Zathura, is taking the game into the real world. Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, and Jack Black took the stage to introduce the trailer, which begins with the real-world characters meeting Danny DeVito's character at a bar. In a wild twist, they find Johnson's character, Dr. Smolder Bravestone, sitting in a booth in the real world, but he appears to be stuck in a demo mode. The footage suggests that the video game avatars are leaking into reality, creating a chaotic blend of the jungle and a normal town. Johnson also took a moment to dedicate the film to the late Robin Williams.
The trailer also features the return of Karen Gillan as Ruby Roundhouse, though there seems to be some tension between the avatars this time around. In one scene, Ruby tells the real-world characters that Bravestone means nothing to her, and later she is seen holding Alex Wolff's character by the throat. The plot seems to revolve around the characters entering the game one last time to fix the leak before their world is completely overrun by Jumanji's mechanics. Director Jake Kasdan is back at the helm, along with the writing team that made the previous two films such massive hits. With the game now operating in an open-world format that spills into reality, the stakes feel much higher than the previous jungle-bound adventures. It is a clever way to evolve the franchise while keeping the beloved cast together for another high-octane outing.
Now to Spider-Man fans have something major to look forward to, as Sony shared exclusive footage from Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse at CinemaCon. The scene picks up right where the last film left off, with Miles Morales stranded on Earth. 4-2. In this universe, there is no Spider-Man, and Miles comes face to face with his alternate self, who has become the Prowler. The footage shows a tense interaction between the two, with the alternate Miles mocking our hero's pronunciation of their last name. Uncle Aaron also appears, confused by the concept of a Spider-Man. The scene highlights the glitching effect Miles suffers from being in the wrong dimension, adding a sense of physical urgency to his escape. He eventually uses his Venom powers to break free, remembering Peter B. Parker's advice to watch the hands not the mouth, during a fight.
The trailer then shifts into a fast-paced montage of action sequences, showing Gwen Stacy searching for Miles and the return of fan favorites like Spider-Ham and Spider-Noir. There's even a glimpse of a silhouette that looks like the Kingpin, suggesting he might play a role in this concluding chapter. The animation continues to push boundaries, mixing even more styles than the previous two films. We also see Miles facing off against Spider-Man 2099 and receiving a final, encouraging message from his mother, Rio Morales, to be brave. Directed by Bob Persichetti and Justin K. Thompson, the film is currently set for a June 2027 release. This 4-year gap since the last film suggests that the production team is taking their time to ensure the trilogy ends on a high note, especially given the complex multiversal plot they need to resolve.
Then there is 16 years after The Social Network became a cultural phenomenon, Aaron Sorkin is returning to the world of Facebook with a sequel titled The Social Reckoning. This new film moves away from the origins of the site and focuses on its role in the 2020 election and the January 6 Capitol riots. At CinemaCon, Sony released the first footage, which features Jeremy Strong taking over the role of Mark Zuckerberg. In a standout courtroom scene, Strong Zuckerberg describes himself as a professional defendant. The film also stars Mikey Madison as whistleblower Frances Haugen and Jeremy Allen White as Jeff Horowitz. The footage shows Haugen meeting Horowitz in the woods, claiming she wants to help the company, not hurt it. It's a sharp, modern look at how the platform is aged and the massive societal consequences of its growth.
The dialogue seems just as snappy as the original, with one scene showing Zuckerberg yelling at a character played by Bill Burr, asserting his authority by reminding everyone he isn't just 2 years out of a dorm room anymore. This is Sorkin's 4th film as a director, and he seems to be leaning into the political and legal drama he excels at. Mikey Madison is coming off a Best Actress Oscar win, and Jeremy Strong is fresh from his acclaimed performance in The Apprentice, making this one of the most anticipated prestige dramas on the horizon. The film is scheduled for release on October 9th, perfectly timed for awards season. It will be fascinating to see how Sorkin handles the evolution of Zuckerberg from a young tech prodigy into a powerful and controversial figure navigating the complexities of global misinformation and legal accountability.
And finally, in a move that bridges the gap between gaming and cinema, Sony has announced an animated feature film adaptation of the hit PlayStation game Bloodborne. What makes this project particularly interesting is that it will be produced by Sean McLaughlin, better known to millions as the YouTuber Jacksepticeye. McLaughlin has a long history with the game, having produced a very popular Let's Play series that resonated with his 48 million subscribers. Bloodborne, originally released in 2015, is a gothic horror masterpiece inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, following a hunter through a city plagued by a beast-turning disease. This project is part of Sony's broader strategy to turn their iconic gaming IPs into film and TV hits, following the massive success of The Last of Us on HBO and the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie.
While a release date hasn't been set, the involvement of a creator like Jacksepticeye suggests Sony is looking to stay true to the fan experience while expanding the lore. The animated format is a perfect choice for Bloodborne, as it can capture the eerie, eldritch atmosphere and grotesque creature designs that might be difficult to replicate in live action. Sony is clearly doubling down on their PlayStation catalog, with other projects like Helldivers also in development. For fans of the game, this is a long-awaited confirmation that the world of Yharnam will finally be explored on the big screen. Having someone who truly understands the game's mechanics and atmosphere at the helm as a producer could be the key to making this one of the most faithful video game adaptations yet. It's a bold step for both Sony and the creator community.
That wraps up our look at the biggest stories in entertainment today. Be sure to follow us for your next daily briefing on the latest news and updates from across the industry.